Make sure your mic is on.
Mic check, mic check.
Yeah, we got the mic check. We got the mic check. And we are live, episode 31. Welcome back, boys. We're just chopping up how to get more views, how to deliver more good content for the viewers. So it's all coming. We're always thinking about it.
I went back and I watched both of those clips. The one with J-Rod, and I love that. I love that 10-minute interaction we had.
Yeah.
And because what I liked about it was that it was just so like raw and unscripted.
Agreed.
And then with the Jon Jones one, I didn't really know all that backstory. So when you told me everything and I was putting all the pieces together and then I rewatched it, I was like, oh, okay, this is what's happening here.
And you like how I had the B-roll too, so it all kind of like was in like chronological order.
And you went off too on it, and I was like, okay, now I see. It's been a week, so how do you feel?
So I mean, yeah. So I mean, there's been all these new weird developments, right? He's like tweeting about how. Okay, so actually, what's it called? We talked a little bit because you might even forget this. Last week at the time, John hadn't said anything about like I think there was something I put in the video that he hadn't said yet.
Okay.
So I don't know if it was the part where he said he's done.
Yeah, you put that. You said he's done.
I put that in the video, but I think last week, Wednesday, when we did the podcast, he hadn't said that on social media yet. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's what I should. Yeah, so that's what I should like. That's the date back to where I'll be reacting to, I guess. So with that video, like when he said he's done, I don't really believe it. You know what I mean? Like when, and I find it weird. You know me though. I find it really weird how the blogs they like repost it. Like if you notice, I didn't repost the video where he says he's done. Only on YouTube for the special viewers, but on Instagram and stuff, I'm not gonna keep blowing up this story that's like mediocre. Like he's having a conversation with another grown man. The guy says you have 10 years left. He's like, I'm done. That's all he says, and everybody takes it and runs a mile with it.
So let me ask you this. Let's get in the inside mind of Parry Punch here.
All right.
Is the reason why is because you feel like the other media outlets are just more clout chasing? But what's your view on all that? Why? How?
Because okay, in a simple term, because it's not like I think too deeply, but I like genuine, right? You want to know the real inside of me? I don't think too deeply about it. It's more of a real off put right when I see it. Like, for example, I see the Jon Jones thing. I just told you when I watched that video for myself, right? Because I'm always looking for a news story. I guess this is how it works out. I'm always looking for a news story. I saw that Jon Jones video, right? And then I think to myself, oh, it's nothing. Move on. But then I have to see another 10 blogs posting about it. And it's like, I thought this was nothing. You guys are all posting about it, creating this story that really doesn't have any meaning because it's so predictable. John's going to come out and renege. So what's the point in wasting your time posting about this when we all know John's going to come out 2 or 3 days from now and be like, no, I don't know if I'm really retired, which he just did today. I don't know if I would really call it retired. And it's the same kind of sad story. We've seen it a million times. So for me, it's like, I like to post about more finalized stories. Like, I'm not going to be posting about in the middle the whole time where John says this, John says that, John says this, John says that. Until there's a definitive thing to say and a real news thing to report on, I'll be like, okay, John's retired.
Hey, but Whack 100 does it. Adam 22 does it.
They do it. And, you know, we reacted on, you know, the YouTube to some degree. But, you know, okay, let me put it like this too. It sets the bar a little bit low. I think there's better work that can be done. Instead of everybody reposting the Jon Jones said, I'm done, quote unquote, and then going to assume that means retirement and done with fighting, it's just rage baiting. It's like the same thing as when Bo Nickel posted that he's 225 pounds overweight.
Well, it's the same thing as when Whack 100 goes on Clubhouse and be like, oh, this is what happened, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same shit.
It's the same shit. It's the same thing. Sometimes I do it. I'll get a little rage bait going if I got an interview. You know what I mean? Comes with the territory. I'm just not a fan of it. And it's annoying when everybody reposts the same thing, is it not? Maybe that's just me.
You know, it's crazy because I see it in so many different industries. it's just part of the game almost, right? Rap news, there's going to be 20, 40 outlets are going to post all the same shit, you know?
Yeah.
MMA news, there's going to be 10 or 20 outlets that are going to post the same shit. And it just happens like that as part of it. But it's interesting because you look at it differently. And so that's what intrigues me is like, I wonder why he looks at it that way. And now fast forward to where Jon Jones is right now. Honestly, now I kind of agree with you from last week because I was I always seem like I'm on the outside looking in. Mm-hmm. I'm the last one finding out about it.
Yeah.
That's why when you tell me, it's always my initial reaction, like, oh, well, that's what happened.
And that's why I told you, check out these other stories that we're going to talk about this week.
And that's what I figured, too. Is like, no, fuck that. I'm going to watch it live so you get my initial reaction. And then you
didn't watch it?
No, I did it on spite.
Oh, my God. You didn't like that. You don't like getting told what to do.
No, and I want you to see my initial reaction, and I want you to yell at me on more shows. Like, dude, this dude fucking...
Okay, well, then let's make sure it's a good reaction.
All right.
Because we're not just going to have this... Yes, you want me to yell at you. We're not just going to have this... We're not going to have this where it's like, okay, I watched it, and that's the... We need an opinion. And so, if you can develop an opinion after watching it...
You want me to stand on something?
I want you to share a thought on it, yeah.
All right, I did... Okay, so I did watch... Should we go into the BJ Penn?
Yeah, but let me say one other thing about what we were talking about, and then we'll go into BJ Penn.
I watched it a little bit.
Okay. That makes me feel a little bit better.
Damn, Jacob's over here cracking the whip and shit,
bro. You just told me I got to be hard on my boy. I'm trying to be... I don't like to be hard. But anyway, what was I going to say? Okay, the posting things, right? This is the other thing. And maybe I'm just in my own lane. I don't even know sometimes. But it's like, I posted BJ Penn, right? And I posted Nate Diaz today, that story. 90% of the blogs that posted the Jon Jones claims he's retired story, they didn't post either of those two. Those are the two biggest, most viral stories I posted today.
Especially with like no big UFC pay-per-view fight coming. That's the most relevant, like, hot news. I agree with you.
Right. But unfortunately, you know what that takes? That takes time.
Okay.
That takes 3 minutes, right, to watch that video of Jake Shields. This is what I did. This is the time I took out of my day. To make the Jake Shields post and Nate Diaz post, I had to watch a 3-minute clip of Jake Shields. Then I had to go watch a full podcast he did to confirm that to confirm certain details, whether or not they left the show. That's Jake Shields confirmed that. So I could now go on my Instagram and say, Nate Diaz and Jake Shields, they left the show after this brawl that ensued, right? But that took like an hour out of my day just for that one post. Then you got BJ Penn. You know what I mean? I went on his Instagram. I looked at his last 2 posts, right? I translated them, replayed them like several times, right? If you see on Twitter, I broke down the transcript, right? So all this takes time to like learn about the story. You know what doesn't take time? Jon Jones saying I'm done and translating that to Jon Jones announces he's retired. How much that is how much time that takes. Right there, I just gave it to you.
Breaking news. All right.
You know what I mean? But so that's why I don't really appreciate sometimes when the bloggers repost all this bullshit, because I find them super lazy. All they want to do is repost tweets. It's really all they want to do, repost tweets.
He said it, I didn't say it.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
Oh, coming in hot.
And shout out to all the blogs that watched the Joaquin Buckley interview, that be reposting it, posting clips. Shout out to you boys.
Yeah, they know that's hot fire right there.
Yeah, I got a couple reposts, so I'm happy about that for sure. Shout out to you boys.
Yeah.
You guys are doing real work, watching my interview. You know what I mean? Real work.
Well, you know, I will, just before we move on this Jon Jones thing.
Sure.
Retire then, but it's all a game. This is all a game. It's all a fucking drama novella that he's creating. But I agree with you, bro. It's like, you're just it's almost like he's fucking with Tom's mind at the same time.
Yes,
and
that's
so
part of it.
Tom right now has to play a mental warfare he has to play the long game. He has to play chess with him, honestly, bro. He really does. And he has to keep himself in that gym fucking fired the fuck up. And I hope he's just adding more fuel to the fire. Every time he does something, all right, here's another fucking log. Mm-hmm. All right,
So here is why I've been saying, right? I think you're kind of, I may have been, how do I put this? Because you just said Jon is trying to mess with Tom, and Tom needs to really lock in and play that mental game back, right? And so that's why I've been saying it's also in how you present yourself. If Jon is doing this telenovela, right, on his end, then Aspinall needs to write his own telenovela. And that's why I've been saying Aspinall needs to say, I'm undisputed champion. That's your story. You can lie. You can lie. You know what I mean?
With that.
That's my story. I'm undisputed champion. I don't care about Jon Jones anymore. I'm going to fight the next contender. I do not want to wait for Jon Jones.
Yeah, who's next? Who's next?
Ciryl gone.
Line him up,
Stop
Dana.
mentioning Jon Jones. Just stop mentioning him. Next YouTube video, next Instagram post from Tom Aspinall. I don't want to hear a word about Jon Jones. I want to hear that you're the undisputed champion. Jon Jones announced he's retired, and you are going to fight Ciryl Gane or the next contender on your date. Drop a month. Drop a month that you want to fight. Say, I'm looking to fight a return on this date against this person. I don't care if you haven't talked to the UFC. I don't care about any of that. These guys need to start creating their own reality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Perception is reality. Think about that. Perception is reality. If you can cause a perception, a public perception, even through deceiving, right? Even through deceit and lies, that public perception will now force the UFC's hand to make it happen for you.
Right, and because now after learning all of this, and like you said, and here's my other thing, bro. So even with, this leads into this brawl. Mm-hmm. Jon Jones was there, right?
Yeah, that was Jon Jones' boy who he had with the pigtails. You know what I'm talking about, right?
So, yeah.
That's his boy. Get your boy, Jon.
But here's my thing. So what if he gets injured?
Jon.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so you even asked me that.
So
no, you asked me that last week too.
You're doing all this extra shit, and you're putting yourself in this position where, like, it happened before he got injured.
Right.
And that was just during training. Anything could happen. Bro, he could fall off the moped and crack his skull. Break it. Numerous things could happen, bro.
Right. Well, okay, the what if is hard because what if Tom Aspinall breaks his leg too?
But at least he's not like doing outside activities, outside curricular activities that if you're going to get hurt, at least be like, oh, well, I was at least training.
Like riding on someone else's moped on the back. Right. That sounds like an easy, stupid way to get injured.
100%. The brawl today, very possible, not today, but when they recorded it, very possible that something does happen. It didn't, but you're giving yourself more chances for something to happen to exclude yourself from this conversation, where then you would put yourself in a position to not even fight.
Yeah. Well, okay. So to play that game, I think if that were to happen, hypothetically speaking, that's probably Jon's like one. Okay. So Jon can't do any wrong, right? Jon can't do no wrong. He's the prince in the UFC. If that happens, best believe everything is gone for him. Dana's taking that title, and it'll be whenever Jon wants to come back. So I guess that's the answer. They'll strip him if he gets injured.
You're playing fire, and he's playing with fire. He really is. He's playing with fire. Half of it I like, the other half it's this equation, because we could roll out a month from now. Oh, guess what happened to Jon Jones? Fucking knew it.
Right. But okay, so one other thing I want to just get your thoughts on. In one of the posts you made, right? I think you said something like should Dana force Jon Jones to fight? And so Dana can't force Jon Jones to fight. You know what I mean?
I mean, he could try to press him.
Is that where you're going with it? You think, because you asked me, right? Who's to blame? And I answered your question last week. People didn't watch. I said Dana's to blame. So let's return the favor a little bit. Who is to blame? Because I feel like that's where you're kind of getting at it too a little bit.
Well, in a way it is like, who is to blame? Because if Dana stood firmer on his stance to be like, no, these are the two options, Jon. Instead of just letting Jon just create his own fucking reality TV show.
Run wild with it.
Run wild. Not even like, not the reality TV show he's doing now, just in general.
In general, I hear you.
He's driving the car right now.
He is.
Dana's like following in the fucking caravan in another car trying to stay up with them.
Right.
So he could just run that right off the thing, and like Dana's gonna like, do I jump with them or?
No, I hear you. And I'm with you on that one. So, but what do you think? Like,
I think it's both, and I think that Dana.
Okay, so you think it's both?
I think because Jon's like a kid. He's gonna push as far as he can.
Right.
As far, just all the way to the edge. and Dana's gonna have to like try to ream him back. But in this circumstance, Dana could go out and say, "We're taking the belt." Why can't they say that?
Okay, so perfect.
Like you just said. You just said they did it to Islam.
They did it to Islam, yeah.
They did it to Ilya. I'm actually basing on what some of the things that you told me.
Yeah. So last week, we always keep it fair, right? Even if we don't agree with the situation. So here's my thing. It might even sound like I'm sticking up for Jon now, but here's how it all goes down. Last week,
I can up in a week.
Right. Last week I said that. I said, but again, we also said it's not apples to apples. That's the problem. It's not apples to apples. So they're not identical situations. It's hard to compare it because the truth is, Islam's moving up, right? And Jon Jones isn't saying he's leaving his division. So that's why, unfortunately, we can't strip him off that merit. But my thing was,
it's not apples to apples,
right? But my thing was, you could leave Islam as the champ for longer, so he can achieve double champ status, and then pull the belt from him once he wins the second title, and then make Ilya versus Charles for the undisputed.
Yeah.
With that being said, you said that they fought in November, right? This is I gotta be fair to Jon Jones.
In New York, right.
Yeah. And even Ariel's saying like it's time to strip Jon Jones. I was saying, strip Jon Jones to some degree, but if I'm wrong, I'm not just gonna stick on what I said before. I gotta renege a little bit. So all right. Yeah, and so Jon fought in November. It's now May. That's a 6-month time span. I don't think of any champion who is somewhat or he hasn't said he's not going to defend it, right? He's just playing that game, like we're saying.
He's playing the game, right? Yeah.
But he hasn't said he's not going to defend it, so I don't see the merit to strip the champion within 6 months, flat out. I know that Tom, if you want to go back to when Tom last fought, it's way before last November, and that's where everybody's kind of, I think, intertwining the two. We're thinking Jon's been out since Tom last fought. And really, Jon's been out for 6 months, and then it's like, well, Tom's been out for over a year, so what about that? And it's like, well, that has nothing to do with Jon, like Jon keeps saying. And so I guess to conclude it, the whole stripping of the title, I guess we can't do that. We cannot strip Jon of the title right now as it stands. Unless Jon comes out in a few months, I think you can't really strip the champion with it. Inside 12 months, you can't strip a champion like Jon Jones. Inside 12 months.
Do you think the UFC has a responsibility within 9 months to say, okay, this is the date, 3 months from now?
I think maybe there might be a little bit of argument there for sure, like at the 9-month mark to like try to get things moving, at least to get some answers. Like if you're gonna be out for longer than a year, we are gonna take the title. You know what I mean? Something like that, but you could find that out in September versus wait all the way till December.
We're setting guidelines. I like that.
Yeah, but for Tom, Tom is in the hardest situation. I think that's why Jon keeps saying none of that means anything to me, because I think Jon's getting that whole thing where it's like, but Tom hasn't fought since like X month last year. Can we find out what month Tom fought last year?
Alexa, when was the last time Tom Aspinall fought?
Nation.com. He fought last Friday, and the Chickasaw Nation boxing.
Dude, Alexa's like 0 for 20 for us.
I swear to God, she is.
Okay, July of last year.
You always fuck it up, bro.
July of last year.
So he's going on a year.
So he's 10 months. He's 10 months out right now.
Okay.
July 27th of last year. So he's about 10 months out. So, I know that sucks for Tom. But if Tom really wants to fight, stop crying about Jon Jones. That's what I got to say to Tom.
Create your own. I agree with what you said. That's really good advice. Create your own storyline. Create your own novella. And Jon Jones even said today, I don't know if I want to call it retired. I feel like I always have an ability to pop out and show them. I've had many breaks throughout my career. My identity outside of fighting is well intact. I'm genuinely enjoying life. I'm growing in different ways.
Good for you, dude. I don't got any problem with them. I wish the best for you. Everybody needs to evolve.
And and I don't have a problem with him playing the game. Yeah. I just don't want to. I just hate the fact that he's putting himself in these. If I was dating, I saw him back on. That's like Marab sometimes when I see things of what Marab's doing. I'm like, Marab, what are you? Marab's fucking wild.
Right. Well, I mean, I guess from Dana's perspective, it's like John, can you fight? And John's like, no. Let's say hypothetically, John's like, no, I don't want to fight till October of next year, or of 2025 of this year.
Yeah.
Dana's like, why not? And John's like, personal reasons. I just don't want to. And then boom, now you see on social media, John's in Thailand doing a reality show with Nate Diaz. Dana's like, dude, you said you wanted to fight in October, and this is the fucking reason why.
You're on mopeds.
But hey, see, a lot of guys have to fight on the UFC's timeline, right? Jon Jones, I mean, this man has been here forever. You want to talk about one of the biggest things you can accomplish in MMA? Along with the title, and remember this one, this is one of the biggest things. Along with the title in MMA, number 2 is how long have you been in the UFC? Mm-hmm. Because you see it all the time, right? How many guys get cut? How many guys are someone today and are no one tomorrow? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? No offense to these guys. Gilbert Burns, Vicente Luque.
It's hard to have longevity.
Right. And look at a guy like Nate Diaz, Jon Jones. People who can stay in this game and be a top dog for as long as they have been. That's not fucking easy, dude. Not at all. You know, so that's why Jon, he's a special character. You can't, there's not much you can do, you know? Sure, I mean, like, Jack Della Maddalena, look what Dana's doing about him. Dana's already promising to strip his ass if he gets injured. Jack just won the fucking title because, you know what? Jack ain't been here as long as Jon Jones.
Right. He's still earning his stripes.
Yeah, it's the catch-22.
It is.
So, that's that. Russian TUF, the whole kickoff, I don't think we need to do much on it. I think what we talked about was the most important thing as far as like how you kind of thought about the injury and stuff with Jon. But the bigger thing too about the Russian TUF is Nate Diaz walks off. I guess like him and his crew got jumped. Just the story for the fans. The guy who Jon had the ponytails on the back of the moped, that's the guy who started like attacking Nate Diaz. I guess like he walked up to Nate, he's like, you ain't no gangster. And then so like Nate was kind of like, you know, a couple things popped off.
Do you think they do that on purpose to kind of create like drama, or do you think it's real? That's the first thing I saw when it happened. I was like, is this real though?
It's in the back of my mind. Maybe not Nate. Maybe Nate's not in on it.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Maybe Nate's not in on it, but maybe that guy knew what he was doing to get the views.
Right, because you're creating hype for the show, right?
It's like, hey, we're going to bring you in, create this little scuffle with Nate Diaz. We're going to get a lot of views. That's what you're kind of thinking too?
Yeah, like a Jerry Springer, like, hey, you know, like, and if they happen to fight, fuck it.
Yeah. I was watching other footage from that reality show, and there's multiple arguments, and I had the same thought where I was like, oh, I feel like they're just arguing because there's cameras around.
That's kind of how I look at it too.
Yeah.
Like but I think it's just because I see, like, it's almost like when you see how the industry is made and you see how the sausage is made, that's the first thing my mind goes to. Like, even looking at it now, it's almost like, okay, they are kind of getting jumped a little bit, and they are like doing, you know, fighting, but because I think once you get into it, you get into it. Mm-hmm. Once the emotions are, but I don't know if it was staged though.
It's like a whole lot of like pump faking.
Right,
pump faking.
But then it can turn into something though, right? Because then once it kind of gets out of control, it's like your job was done, job accomplished.
And that's the weird part is like, now do you get mad? If you're the Russian guy, if you were just playing before, now are you mad?
Yeah.
That's the weird one, right? Because if you're just trying to troll Nate for a reaction and then you actually get mad when you tried to piss him off in the first place, how much sense does that make?
Yeah. I'm rewatching it right now. Yeah. There's a lot of people there.
Yeah, to be honest, it's not much.
It looks like a like, you mean like it didn't go like crazy.
No, not much. It's just a little. It's a
lot of people like. Yeah. I think it's the second to last. But Jake Shields didn't jump in, right?
No, but Jake Shields was like on the floor in a fetal position getting kicked.
Oh, that's him getting kicked?
That's Jake Shields getting kicked,
oh.
Yeah.
Because I see the guy with the...
And then I guess Nate Diaz's manager...
He walks in like, what? And he like starts...
Yeah. I don't know if you saw, but I think...
The way he's all like...
Yeah, these guys are crazy. Also, Nate Diaz's manager choked out one guy. He picked him up and like choked him, and then like they were throwing punches there too. So there's a couple of little brawls that broke out.
It's great for the show because you know they're going to add this footage on the show.
Yeah, but Nate Diaz walked off. So they got no more show now. They got no more show.
That was it.
That's it.
They had one episode.
I think they might have had 2 fights.
Did they?
I watched a clip where Jon said he's like 2-0. Like his team is 2-0 against Nate's team. Maybe they had 2 fights. Maybe no fights happened.
Yeah.
Hold
on, give me 1 minute. I got to open this door real quick.
Okay, go ahead. All right, boys. We're about to get into BJ Penn. And that is a good one, my friends. That is a good one. I hope MTK watched the BJ Penn one. Because, I mean, I can't explain it. I already got that shit translated, so I can explain it pretty quickly. But maybe MTK will have a take. My biggest thing about BJ Penn is, as we're about to get into, it's exactly what I've been saying about BJ Penn. His family is beefing over money, man. And BJ thinks that his mom ain't his mom. And a little side note that you guys can watch is BJ Penn is one of the most stubborn mules in the world. If you go watch his The Ultimate Fighter season with Jens Pulver, go watch the scene where they're trying to pick teams and tell me BJ Penn isn't the most stubborn guy in the world. The guy will not let anything go.
Well, he's Hawaiian too.
I'm Hawaiian.
I'm learning you're stubborn too.
I don't think Hawaiians are that stubborn, if I'm being honest.
I mean, they're laid back, but they're set in their ways.
Hawaiians are set in their ways. I'll give you that one.
I guess that's kind of like where my mindset goes there.
Hawaiians are also. I've never been able to put this into words, but Hawaiians are also kind of like. I think maybe the word is like self-righteous. Like if you believe in something as a Hawaiian, like
you're gonna stand on it.
It's gonna be hard to kick you off that.
Yeah, you're gonna stand on it. Yeah. I'll tell you that much.
Not me, but I noticed like in the culture, like I noticed people like they stand firm on certain beliefs. So I think BJ Penn stands fucking 20 toes down on whatever the hell he believes in.
100%. It's funny because I got out my dad's a lot like that, old school Mexican, and he's getting better as he's gotten older. But like we had an argument yesterday. I was like, he's not moving. That he's gonna stand on this hill. Mm-hmm. So I'm not even worth me arguing with him. Like, all right, fine.
Yeah. Once you realize that, it's over with. It's like you get the.
No, I was gonna. So one of the homie chats, I put in there what happened with BJ Penn. Did you just kind of bring that up right now?
Yeah, I brought it up. So we're gonna get into it. But what did you want to say?
No, so I just wanted to kind of read some of the comments of what the homie said in the chat. And I dropped what you said. And
Wait,
I said,
should we preface them because they don't know what we're talking about? Okay. All right. So BJ Penn, right? The development is he had a secret recording of his mother in their living room. This is what I've been waiting for. I've been waiting for this.
But my whole thing. So now it is his mom, or does he still think it's not his mom?
So in the video, he's still saying, "If you're really my mom."
Okay.
So he's not sure.
Okay.
But this is what I've been asking for. I've been asking, are these real interactions? Like, we need a video with audio. He fucking gave it to us.
And she responded back.
And she's saying, he's basically, let me just read it to you.
Yeah.
I have it translated. Oh my goodness. They're arguing over the family business. He's asking for 51% ownership. And then she said, so this is how it goes. BJ says to his mom, just give me my fair share of the company. I just want 51%. BJ's mom replies, you own nothing. You're harassing me. BJ says, we're just talking. We walk into the court and you start saying I own nothing. You're going to get into a big problem. BJ's mom says, I'm ready. Let the court decide. And BJ says, even if you really were my mom, to say that I own nothing is going to screw you guys bad. So BJ's asking for 51% ownership of the family business. She's saying you own nothing. He's threatening to take her to court. She's saying, let's go.
Mm-hmm. That's some family drama. I'm more under the assumption that it is his mom.
I think it's his mom, if I'm being real.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, like I said before, I gotta say it again. I think the family business isn't what it used to be. They have to make adjustments. They have to sell off assets. Like he's already said, they sold a condo and stuff like that in order to continue to thrive with whatever else they have going.
Right.
I think BJ is in complete denial about that. He's completely broken over the fact that they've sold his properties because he wants to die on that hill of like, we're going to keep this forever. Ownership is key. Something like that. Right? And his parents are like, ownership is key, BJ, but we don't have money. You know what I mean? So we need to sell this.
There's not income coming in anymore like it used to be.
Right. So we lose everything, or we lose one thing and use that to pay for everything else in the meantime. And I think BJ, he cannot let it go. It's all an assumption on my end, but that's truly what I believe. Yeah. He won't let this stuff go, and I think his family's trying to make logical decisions, but he's in denial about it.
Yeah, so I put in the chat, serious question, does BJ Penn need help, homies? Comment, CTE. Nah, he has issues, but they are trying to take his shit as well. It's documented. They're using CTAs and brain issues to take it. Next one, CTA, drugs, early offset dementia, or he's telling the truth. It just sounds crazy because we can't comprehend going through something like that. Through our family would never do that. But kind of like what you said, you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
And I think too, like it's telling what you said. I mean, if you're used to getting, I don't know, let's throw a crazy number out there, $1 million a year. I don't know, but that might be low for BJ Penn at his prime, at his peak. And what income are you really getting coming in? It goes back to the story. What you said is like you have this shelf life. How do you make money after 38, 40 if you're a really good fighter?
You gotta have these outside things.
You have to have the right. How many
investments, side businesses?
Right, and how many of them really have that?
1%.
I was gonna say 5, but one's even a better number. And that's every sports. That's everybody in that world. So now we're seeing this story play out right in front of our eyes, and it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if it's because, like, maybe it is. I feel like I can almost, when I watch that video, like, I put myself in his position because I got, like, a Hawaiian mom. So, like, I try to put myself in the position of, like me and my mom, how would our relationship go if I was pushing her to that extent? Like, was she telling me I owe nothing? Because that's hard for a mom to just tell her son. I feel like if I was being that fucking stubborn like BJ, my mom might be like, dude, like, you lost it, man.
Oh, my mom would tell me, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, his mom being...
Latina's mom are direct. Like, so my mom would be super direct with me, bro. And my dad.
Yeah, and I think his mom being hard on him, I don't know. It's just... Because part of me wants to think the lady's being kind of a bitch to him. Maybe that's not his mom. But then I'm thinking, like, but dude, you're fucking, like, borderline harassing her, like she said. Like, maybe she's just fucking fed up with your stupid bullshit.
I think like, that's what it seemed like.
That's what it seems like.
Like, fed up with your bullshit. Like, dude, I'm tired of you keep on saying this shit, dude. Like, this is where we're at. We're trying to handle things.
Right.
We have the assets.
But can I completely wipe out that BJ's crazy and that he's telling all lies? I can't. I cannot do that. You know what I mean? There's a part of me that is holding out for BJ's story to see if he can validate it.
It's one of those things.
Because I'm not just gonna say you're a crazy person. I would like to get it validated.
Me too. I think that expression two things can be true at the same time.
Maybe there are properties being taken from him.
There could be a mixture of a lot of this. CTE, maybe some of that happening. Maybe they are taking advantage of him. And all these things are playing out all together. Maybe there are money issues. Maybe that's why they are selling assets, but at the same time, maybe they're pocketing a little bit. He's not understanding everything that's going on.
Because does that not happen to professional athletes when you're the breadwinner?
A lot of times.
Happens all the time, right?
A lot of times.
But BJ's saying it really crazy. Yeah. Where people are getting off put from like the first few words he spews out,
I'm more like, I wish the community within the MA community, and I know some people have spoken out, and we've, I think we've read or played some of those clips of some of his peers.
Mayhem Miller commented on his post saying, "Call me, bro."
You know what I mean? Like, I think Chael responded. I think Brendan said something too.
Yeah, they all have.
Yeah, so you know what I mean? I think it's interesting because, like, let's say you and I were homies like that. We seem to be homies like that. And I saw some crazy shit, bro. I probably would drive down. Like, I'd probably
Yeah.
call him like, hey, where you at, bro? Like, hey, I just saw the post, but let me chop it up. Let's go to lunch or something. And then I try to get a real understanding, like, hey, what's going on here? Like,
Yeah.
hey, let's go talk to your mom real quick.
Definitely.
I don't see any peers like that doing that though.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Well, they like Jon Jones linked up with him recently. It's like they always use BJ for promotional. You know what I mean?
There was something I saw. Fuck, what was? Oh, Old Dirty Bastard. You know what Old Dirty Bastard is, right?
Yeah, ODB.
Yes, yeah, ODB, RP. So I was watching one of the documentaries on him, and they were talking. His cousin is RZA, and his cousin is Jizza, the two founders of Wu-Tang Clan, and they were like, his wife and his kids were like, well, why didn't they step in? That's his family. And they were saying like, well, and it's like, I don't want to get in his business. But sometimes you got to get into people's business because look at what the outcome was. We're talking about an extreme ultimate, right? Like ODB took it to the extreme and he ended up losing his life over an overdose. And RZA said at the funeral, I wish I would have stepped in, bro. But now it's too late.
Yeah.
Like here, it's almost like one of those things too. It's like, can someone step in just to kind of get an understanding because it doesn't seem to be getting better. It's here and it's here and it's here and it's here. We've been talking about a few months now.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it's been going longer than that.
I stopped posting about it. We haven't talked about it for a few weeks, right? But BJ has been posting things. I just haven't been posting until today was a crazier one where it's like hidden secret recording. Like you got to post that.
Right.
But like he keeps talking about it. I think the other day he posted something like, happy birthday to my brother or something like, oh no, happy Mother's Day. Like, like he was sad. Like I felt bad for BJ, but he posted something on Mother's Day. Like, I wish I had my family. Like I don't got no one. Like
That's
this
sad.
guy, yeah, I feel bad for him.
Help. That's a cry for help.
A cry for help. Another one, he posted a side by side of his brother saying like, I think I found who the real person is who's impersonating as my brother. I think I know who it is. Like this guy, he's struggling regardless if he's telling the truth or not.
You know what? It's just crazy. I was reading an article and I was watching something about it. When people get affected with CTE, I don't mean to get deep in here.
No, it's good.
They start losing the chemicals that create dopamine.
What? So they don't create dopamine anymore if
you
have
start
CTE?
losing. Yeah, you start losing the ability for your mind and brain cells to create the chemicals of dopamine. You know what dopamine does for you?
I was gonna say it basically is like the feel good chemical, right? The positivity chemical.
Right. So like like
when you exercise, that's like positive endorphins.
Right. And your body automatically creates these chemicals, right? It gives you a balance. If I do drugs, I'm gonna get this high dopamine, or if I'm gonna do if I go work out or run, I'm gonna get a higher natural dopamine level in my body, right? That might naturally create. Now, let's say for people that have depression or have like certain mental disabilities that your body doesn't create it for you, you'll get people that get super depressed because your dopamine levels are so low that it's hard for you to do things. Like that's an actual chemical imbalance in your brain.
Definitely. So, well, dopamine's a chemical, yeah.
And so they're saying as they're learning more about like CTE and stuff like that, that your body is harder to create some of these natural chemicals. And so that's why a lot of these guys get in depression. That's why you hear some of these guys not being able to like formulate things and they're going off the rails a little bit. Because if you add depression into that equation, a lot of these guys are sad. They don't know how to do anymore. They don't know what to do. They end up killing themselves. Oh, and that's part of like the chemical imbalance that it gets created because your brain's swelling. So it's crazy. Like they're still doing. That's the crazy thing. They're still doing research on all this.
So that brings a random point that I've kind of been making for a long time, or at least thinking in the back of my head, which is, a lot of the fighters who you don't see struggling with CTE are the ones who are in media, right? Daniel Cormier, Michael Bisping, Brendan Schaub. Even Mayhem Miller, when he was going crazy, he was going crazy. But now he's like in media doing his thing. Also, does social media give people? Dopamine, right? Scrolling on social media gives you dopamine. Also, creating content, I can almost guarantee you, gives you dopamine too. A viral piece of content. Maybe like being a content creator in a way helps battle some of these CTE effects. You know,
I
like,
will say
maybe
this.
a guy like DC would be farther gone if he didn't have the dopamine he gets from kind of being like a TV guy.
Think about this. Think how much notoriety Junior Seau had after his career. He had businesses. He was out on TV. He was doing this, and that dude ended up shooting himself.
I didn't know much about Junior, so I couldn't tell you. But
Junior
if that's
Seau
the
was
case.
San Diego Chargers.
He was basically a DC then.
He wasn't that far, but he had a bunch of businesses, bro. Like fucking
Okay.
like on TV, like, you know, every time. That's why it was so shocking. Like, damn, he fucking shot himself. Like, no one expected that.
Oh.
And then after the fact, there was like, oh, he had CTE. He was actually and behind closed doors, he was hurting. So I think sometimes you see these guys on TV. I'm just kind of giving you another, you know, another side of that. We see these guys for a glimpse on our TVs or on our phones, but behind the scenes doesn't mean they still can't be hurting or struggling with something. But some do get out, because you see NFL guys on fucking NBA. But I'm just saying, you never know what's happening behind closed doors.
Yeah, true. Even the guys who look to be good on paper, they could be. I know Bisping struggles fucking like crazy. If you watch his podcast, you would know.
You know Anthony Bourdain is?
Yeah, shout out to Bourdain. I fuck with him.
You know,
Rest in peace.
Exactly. You know, you would think on paper, bro. On paper, like, damn, you got this. You're a fucking top chef. Fucking, you're out here traveling the world. You got a, you know, TV show. Wow, bro. And then you hear the news. You know what I mean? So you just never know.
Yeah.
And then you add the CT shit to it.
Yeah. Well, since we're on this topic, we might as well just just take it there. You know, I do feel like that's a weird one. I wonder how many people feel fulfilled in life. You know, I got a lot of things that I like, you know what I mean, that I feel like maybe check the box of, like, you know, what you wanted to achieve maybe, right? But sometimes I don't even feel like I'm satisfied. You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, what's going to make me satisfied?
I listened to these, like, you can call it motivational, and I read books and shit.
Yeah.
So there's something I listened to this morning. He goes, he was like a monk, a Buddha monk almost.
Mm-hmm.
When I wake into happiness, I don't seek. When I wake up in the morning, I don't seek happiness. I seek peace. I thought about that. I was like, ooh. He goes, when I do this, I don't think happiness. I seek peace. He kept saying it, bro. Like, and you could use anything you wanted in your life, because the more you try to chase happiness, the more you're going to be unfulfilled.
That's what it seems like, if I'm being dead honest.
Because you can have 100,000 in a bank, you could have the finest bit in the world, you could have the best career in the world, but if you haven't answered that inner peace within inside you, you'll never be happy.
Yeah.
And it's something that when you're able to understand it and realize that peace that you can have inside you, it makes everything else easier too. And it was also like, the things that we want the most, we get, but then you always want more. Well, I want this now.
Like the money and the women.
I want this now.
You can get $1 million. You can get a chick tomorrow, but you're gonna still want more.
Yeah, but the day you can be like, I'm content, I'm good, I'm happy, I'm at peace, then it's just almost like, you know, you're trying to help others. You're finding purpose. Like, what is your purpose?
It's not as much like, what's the next thing to fulfill me, to satisfy me. It's like, what can I do to kind of like, not just satisfy yourself, but
what is it to have peace within yourself?
To have peace within yourself,
right?
And to be content, maybe to not be always seeking like more, that more.
100%.
Because people, a lot of times people think like, because people think like, oh, I'm depressed, right? I just need a chick. I just need to go, like, you know, release some energy. But any guy who's been down that path knows that, like, sure, that happens for, like, that moment in time, but the next day you're back to square one.
And all those times you get those things, they come with other baggage.
And that's not the peace. See,
not the piece.
You can, if you know what we're talking about, right? We don't have to go into full detail, but yeah, going after chicks. There's a lot of like stuff that comes with that kind of breaks the piece.
Yeah.
Sure,
It's
you
pretty
might even
cool.
get the chick, right? You might even get her. You might be like stoked on it. But to be honest with you, when you talk about the piece, a lot of the piece does get disturbed. Maybe you didn't hit the gym. Maybe you didn't complete your work schedule because you're thinking about kicking it with her. I mean, these are all things I've been through in my life. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you might chase something for happiness, but then you break off all that peace that you would have had. And then it's like, where, I like how you said that.
And you got to have balance too, right? And you have to, this book I've been reading, it's called The Four Agreements. And the first chapter is called Be Impeccable with Your Word. And I've always had a hard time forgiving myself. So it goes back to like being happy, right? And I was like, I always have a hard time forgiving myself. Like I'm my biggest judge.
Yeah.
And the first chapter says, be impeccable with your word. Impeccable means without sin. It's a sin to put yourself down. When you start thinking about that, you have to start with love for yourself. That love gives you the peace within yourself. And then you can give it to others. Because if you're not happy here internally, how are you going to spread that love to somebody else?
Yeah.
And so you first have to stop by judging yourself and actually forgiving yourself, because the more self-doubt you create for yourself, the more sin you're giving your own poison. So yeah. I mean,
no, I like that one too. I'll even add to it and say I haven't heard about that as like a sin necessarily, but I believe you. But for me, I'm not saying I deny it, but I just haven't heard that. But for me, in my own personal life, I've learned to like almost master that skill. Like when you first said you have a hard time forgiving yourself, instantly in my mind, I was about to tell you, I'm probably one of the best people who can forgive themselves.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I think I've learned that because I've done bad things in my life and I beat myself up over it. And I'm like, shit, that did nothing for nothing. Like it already happened. You know what I mean? I was beating myself up for months, slowing down a lot of progression. So definitely, like, if you commit wrongs, it's okay. You just got to move past that shit, man.
And here's what it said, and this is what I wrote, and I texted this to my brother. Self-rejection is a sin to yourself.
What do you mean? What's self-rejection? What's like an example of that?
So like, oh, I'm not good enough. The guilt, right? For not forgiving yourself, the self-rejection of your own self.
Yeah.
And when you're able to start loving yourself and you start holding yourself accountable, then you can do what you just said. You know what I mean? If you're getting better in holding yourself accountable and not trying to make those self mistakes, you can start forgiving yourself and you can start adding more love to yourself. That kind of goes into this whole inner peace and happiness.
I got you.
So, well, I'll leave it at that.
That's good advice, because I was thinking about that today, actually. I was thinking, I'm like, bro, life is crazy because I feel like I have like a lot of things that people might want. But sometimes, I have the feeling where it's like, it's just like there's like an emptiness maybe. It's hard to explain. Maybe not everybody goes through it. Maybe some other people are content.
98% of the world, bro.
Yeah.
99 probably percent of the world are chasing something. Everybody's chasing something. And the thing is, age doesn't matter. You could be 15 years old. I mean, and you're not an adult yet, but you're still trying to create your life. Or you could be 80, 90 years old, bro, and still people not content. Still trying to chase something.
Right.
Look at Diddy.
Definitely.
You would think he had everything in the world, right? But he couldn't. He's still chasing fucking the euphoria of sex.
And that's why I think he's a perfect example. Somebody who didn't master the piece. You're always going to go off in your tangents unless you master that, probably.
And that's an extreme, right? That's like an extreme.
But it just shows that no matter how much money you have, it can take you to the heights that you want to be at.
I'll share something with you too. I'll share something with you too about money. Times that I've had like really good like money, like let's just say, I don't know, I got a check for $10,000.
Sure.
Just use that. I'm gonna go to Vegas. I'm gonna go gamble. I'm gonna go this. I'm gonna go do that. Had all the fun. Got back to square one. Am I happier?
No. I would doubt it.
It was fun. It was a good experience, but am I happier?
You might even got with a baddie that, over that trip.
Right. But here's the thing. What you have to master is saying, I didn't go do it to be happier. I went it just to have the experience with the people you're around, you know. And if you can go back and be like, all right, now what are we gonna go do? We're gonna go work hard. You know, you discover more of your purpose and the goals that you want to create. And for me, happiness is helping change the world. Sharing what I have, or trying to break the cycles for the next generation. Because if I can do that, let's say I pass away tomorrow, I can do that and I can be like, man, I am happy. I mean, I'm still not fighting just like everybody else. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's a battle. It's a daily battle. You always gotta like
balance.
Check it and you know, check where you're at, check the temperature,
balance, bro. Because I like for me, bro, like I can want to go to the casino, or I can want to go like, you know, like fucking get drunk, or like, you know, go do this or go with the boys. You know what I mean? Like it's all a high. It's all a high.
Right.
Believe me, I know.
Well, you even say about that, right? But okay, like even if you have a girlfriend, if you own your own business, because people will think on like if you work for like a man, right? If you work for the man at like fucking the grocery store, you might be like, oh, I want to own my own business. That would make me happy. But as someone who's kind of done that, right, and is in that right now, it's like it's good. But owning your own business comes with the same amount of, you know, bullshit that you gotta deal with if you work for a man. You know what I mean? At Albertsons, probably more. So it's one of those
the only thing you can hang your head on, like, I don't have to answer to anybody, right? It's still gonna have a set of problems, you know. I think when you can get to a point to be like, you know, if I have family and friends that love me, to me that's happy and like inner peace. If I can pay my bills, happy and inner peace, you know. If I can have money in the bank, you know, then not have to stress and worry about the next set of bills coming in, you know what I mean? And like, oh fuck, how am I gonna pay? That causes stress and turmoil and worry, you know. Right. That's natural, you know. But if you have all that stuff and you're still not happy, you gotta really dive deep into yourself.
Because here's the thing. Here's what I'm almost trying to get across is that you can have the good things. Because how many men are married and not happy?
A lot, bro.
But how many people on the other side are like, all I need is to be married. I'm not happy because I'm not married. 100%. So that's where it's like, what we're saying, it doesn't have anything to do with either of the two. You could be married, you could not be married. It has to do with the inner peace and almost the inner validation you can provide for yourself.
And the self-love you could provide for yourself.
Yeah.
Got to start with the self-love. And
you can kind of branch that out into other aspects, but it all starts from you.
I'll tell you this. When was the last time you told yourself I love you?
I haven't told. I wasn't ready for that. I haven't told myself I love myself, but I mean, I'm proud of myself.
Have you ever said it?
No.
Okay. Do me a favor. Tomorrow, do it. You'll feel a difference in your life. And it's funny is that this book I was reading, The Four Agreements.
Yeah.
It questioned me. I was like, how? To me, you know what I said to myself, bro? How sad is that though? That I've not one time in my life have I said that. You know what I started telling my niece and nephew? Start doing this for me. They're like 15, 16, 17. So by the time they're 28, 30, and I have that same conversation with them, their whole perception and perspective and inner peace in life is going to be completely different.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they're still not going to have turmoil and harm, but at least there's going to be a lot of self-love. A lot of self-love. And that self-love will reflect to everybody else they interact with.
Yeah. And hopefully that will lead to good decisions.
100%.
Because you can,
you're not gonna have this self-rejection of yourself, this like, you know, this inner poison within yourself. You're gonna people are just gonna see it when you walk. Hey, how's it going? You know,
like, you know, liking to see the man in the mirror.
Yeah, this would be like, this dude's too happy.
Yeah. But you hear that expression too, where it's like, you don't like the man in the mirror. So that's kind of what you're saying. Like, you gotta love yourself. Because you gotta like what you see in the mirror.
And you got to tell yourself that, bro. You have to. And like I said, when I was like, this whole time in my life, I've never said it. Actually, it made me more sad. Like, wow, that's crazy, bro. Like, like if I'm not gonna love me, who is?
Right.
But
that's
it goes
first and foremost.
Yeah. So I've been telling everybody that.
All right. So we'll go back on track.
We had a little MMA TED talk.
Hey, we have one of the homies says self-esteem is important, so he was tapped in. Shout out to Just You. Let me find the next topic we could discuss.
Hey, we had a little MMA TED talk right there.
That was solid.
Yeah, we'd have to tag the people in the Bay Area.
Okay, so you want to talk about Mario Morales' win? Or no, Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Because when we talked about, like, hey, it's something else going to come up, but then the actual hospital came out and said, nah, that's on us.
Yeah.
That's like they're going to get sued.
Yeah, that's wild.
Just by admitting it, you're going to, I mean, the family now has...
Yo, 1 second. Let me go get something real quick.
Oh, now it's my turn. But no, here's the story. While Jacob takes a little little indica break, you know what I mean? See if I can bring this up, Francis. Basically, the story is that the person that he ran over died. The doctor came out and said, I believe that they gave him too much anesthesia. I'm gonna try to pull this up. Of course, when you fucking want to bring something up, it doesn't do it. Hey, talk amongst yourselves. How do we really feel about Jacob, though? How do we really feel? Just fucking around. All right, here it is. Oh, here's another story, too. Habib isn't a fan of Islam Makhachev's mountain biking hobby. I don't like this. He tweeted him back. I'm over here telling stories. I'm seeing
people moving in. Sorry to interrupt. I got these people moving in. They just told me they're gonna be moving this stuff, so they're just like apologizing. I guess you could say they're above me. What were you saying though?
I was reading stories online about Habib.
Oh, I know he said something about McGregor, how he bought him, paid for his Jimmy bot.
Like
that people never end. We were talking about Ngannou though. I don't know what you said in the meantime.
I didn't say too much, but here's the story. The court of Yaoundé.
Mm-hmm.
This is from Parry Punch, has ruled 17-year-old Sama Manuela death was caused by an overdose of anesthesia provided by hospital healthcare staff before undergoing surgery following a motorcycle crash involving Francis Ngannou over Easter weekend. A serious medical error was made during the case of Mrs. Sanama Manala at the hospital, notably an overdose of anesthesia, which directly contributed to her death. We demand that full light be shed on the responsibility of the hospital and the healthcare staff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have seen people come out and be like, "Oh, they're trying to cover up Francis."
And I think I'm gonna be in that camp.
Really, I'm not there. I don't understand
why. I think I'm gonna be in there, and I'm conflicted. I don't want to be in that camp necessarily.
But why would the hospital probably has hundreds of millions more than Francis? Why would they put themselves in that position to do that? Francis may have a net worth of, let's just say 50 million.
Wait, what is your question?
Why would a healthcare system, hospital, put themselves? They probably have a net worth of 500 million, saving lives daily, compared to one person who may have a net worth of, like I said, maybe 50 million. I don't even know if it's that. And
but it was an accident. So how would they put themselves in that?
Because even if it's an accident, the family can still go sue them for like neglect. You're still gonna have to. You're still gonna have like something's gonna happen through the court system. I mean, here in the United States, anyway. I would imagine it's the same there.
So are you saying though? Why would they admit that why would the hospital admit that they did wrong?
No. Why would they want to cover up for Francis? If Francis had something to do with it, why would they even care of covering it?
Why would okay, so you think it's like if the naysayers are saying the hospital is covering up for Francis.
Right.
Yeah, I guess that is okay because full disclosure, that article, it's not a statement from the hospital, you know what I mean? That's like some journalistic work.
Oh, okay.
I think it might have been a statement from Ngannou's camp.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
So we don't know if that's from the hospital saying like we demand that we take full responsibility, not Francis. Mm-hmm. We need to find out more where that statement came from.
Okay.
My major thing is this. What injuries did she have suffered beforehand? And simply put like this. If she had non-life-threatening injuries, meaning a broken leg or something like that from a car crash that Francis caused, right? From speeding, drinking, being on your cell phone. It doesn't matter too that the hospital hurt her or ultimately ended her life. You know what I mean? You caused her to go there. You are still responsible if the crash had foul play. And that's what I want to know. Just because the hospital finished her off doesn't mean shit. Like, doesn't mean that Francis is just completely absolved of all this. And rest in peace. I won't even say it. I apologize to Francis for all the negativity that's happened in his life recently, but that has nothing to do with the way that this woman lost her life. So I do not give him extra sympathy or like brownie points for, oh, but he lost his son last year. It means nothing. I want to know what injuries did that girl suffer and what caused that crash and who's at fault. Because if you are, I don't care that the hospital finished her off. You still deserve to be held accountable. Because listen, if you never did that to her, the hospital would have never finished her off.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So that's my thing. Is like let's be careful because we still don't know all those things. Francis could have done it.
Yeah, I guess, it's crazy because I give him so much more benefit of the doubt. And I was just thinking about this right now. Let's say this story was Jon Jones, and we heard this happen with Jon Jones. I'd be talking how you're talking now because I wouldn't give him any benefit of the doubt.
Mm-hmm.
In this situation, I don't see why I wouldn't give Francis the benefit of the doubt. I've never heard a story of him like doing anything that's have the impression of me that he's out getting faded, fucking running amok.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'm more on the side of like, you're right. We still need to find out more information, find out where this story really came from, who really released it. Now, if Francis' team came out and dropped that information, that's suspect.
Kind of suspect, right?
That's hella suspect. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the case though.
Yeah. So I guess we'll have to see how this whole thing plays out. I guess because you said that you would give him benefit of the doubt, and that's fine.
Because he's gave me a reason not to give him a benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, but my thing is, there's just so little information to even, for me personally, to be able to give benefit of the doubt, because it's like, at least with SD Dumas, right? When I shot him benefit of the doubt, right? At least there were charges that I was able to piece together, and I was like, look, there's domestic violence, but he's got a backstory with his girl, so let me explain it to you. He's separated. She has custody of his kid. All these could be in play. I'm going to give him benefit of the doubt. With Francis, I don't know anything.
Yeah.
So I can't even give you the benefit of the doubt because I'm almost just assuming like, oh, you wouldn't drink and drive. And I won't assume that for anybody. I've drank and drive. You've probably drank and drive. Like
2 DUIs.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can't just be like, oh, Francis, you're a good guy. Like, you probably don't drink and drive. You probably don't text and drive. You probably wouldn't speed. Because we all do that. And we're good people.
Yeah.
I texted on my phone recently. You know what I mean? And I'm not proud to say it. You know what I mean? But the truth is the truth. And you fuck with me. You would give me the benefit of the doubt, right? But the truth is I text on my phone. Just food for thought. I know that you're just shooting in bail, and that's fine. You know, I think it's good to kind of give both sides.
We still gotta find out more information, right?
Right.
And if more information comes out next week, and we're like, dude, no, he released it, I might have a whole different opinion on it. You know? So
we'll see. It's a very interesting story.
Ongoing story, right? It's ongoing.
And I think that, like I'm kind of pointing out, my biggest thing is, let's not even say like, oh, Francis, you might have been covering it up, right? I'll just leave it at, there's a ton of questions that I still want answered.
Yeah.
How about that? Like, I'm not going to say Francis is covering anything up, but I want to know the answer. Who's at fault, if he was drinking, if he was texting, if he was drunk, and what injuries she suffered.
Yeah. No, those are great questions to get answered.
And I'll feel much better. I think I could piece the whole thing together once I find that out. Apparently he was on a motorcycle. That's like, because remember, it was like a motorcycle vehicle crash. They weren't sure if it was a motorcycle or a car. Apparently it was a motorcycle. We'll look into it more as time goes on. Michael Morales.
Got him. Got him.
Morales, I mean, solid win.
Really solid win.
Solid win. Damn, the stream is behind. Oh, no, I'm behind.
Well, let me ask you this. Who did you fight next? You know what's crazy too is, everybody now, I'm not saying we're the first ever to say it, but everybody's, the best division of all time and premier division. And I was just like, all right.
We were just early.
Yeah, we were early.
We saw it before everyone else.
Not everybody else. There's a handful, but it's been my favorite division since I've met you.
Yeah. No, I'm saying we saw it before the majority of people. Sure, there's a handful. We saw it before most, though.
I've been eyeing Michael Morales for a while, too, and I guess because he fights out of TJ, so I kind of maybe are a little bit more familiar with him, but I saw all those wins already in the UFC, and I didn't think it would be that easy for him, though.
Morales is a stud.
He made it look easy, bro.
He did.
He made it but he just looked like he made it look like you probably like fighting me or something. He was like,
Well, that's how that 35-year-old fucking Gilbert, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it was just too much.
I know what you're saying. He just kind of like, he just kind of...
He deboed him, bro.
That's a good fucking way to put it, yeah.
He deboed the
Because
fuck out
when
of
I
him.
watched it, it wasn't like it was a technical masterclass.
No, he just...
It was just like boom, pop, bop, like bam, and like yeah.
And then he gave him a chance to get back up, and he was just on him. I love that he's a killer like that, though. That I do love. I love that he's a killer like that because he's just big for the division. He's young. He has a lot more room to grow.
Oh, he's got a lot of room to grow.
Here's my thing, and he's so big. Like I think one day we'll see him at 180, or 185.
Yeah, but he's young, so yeah, I like that.
One day I think he'll definitely, because it'll be easy for him to move up. I think they said he was 195 when he had a cut.
Something like that, right? I think he was 195 the day after the fight.
Just big. He's just big.
Yeah.
But the question that I see a lot of people online, I saw some people arguing with me, like, who did you fight next? Like, who did you say before if he wins?
Well, I think last week you said he should fight Leon Edwards. And
yeah, I'm still there.
Looking now, I mean, I think Leon's a good fight.
I think it's a stand-up fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see him doing the same thing to Leon.
Yeah, but then I go, yeah, because you got Ian Gary. Ian Gary's got. See, this is the good thing when you're a guy who promotes yourself, because Ian's got multiple fires burning right now. He could put out that fire with Leon Edwards. He could put out that fire with Sean Brady. Yeah. So I guess whoever Ian gets, like, give Morales or give Ian to Brady.
Yeah. No, I think
give Ian Brady and then Morales Leon.
And so people were kind of arguing back, like, no, Morales versus Pratis, and I was like, as a fan, that's fun, but why does Morales go and say, hey, I'm gonna fight Pratis when he's still 13? He just moved up to number 8. Honestly, and honestly, I think Pratis needs to run it with Jeff Neal, take that 10 spot, and get Jeff Neal the fuck out. And earn that 10 spot, and then go say, "Hey, I want the Morales of the world, or I want who else is like right there at number, fucking kill Kobe, with Pratis or Morales, just knock all these guys out, because we're like the fights away from these guys getting stepped out."
Yeah, and so because there's people, I guess, disagreeing with you, we don't put right. Sometimes there's rules that almost go without saying. And I feel like some people just aren't even aware that this is in play. So then they come at you and they're like, "Oh no, Pratis should fight fucking Morales."
And as a fan, it seems fun. It seems
fun, but that's like, it's such a elementary school matchup, because here's the truth. Here's the unsaid rule. Okay, we do not put the young contenders against young contenders. There are too many old fucking guys in the division, in the rankings right now, to be putting contenders against contenders. So you do not waste a Michael Morales versus Carlos Pratis. You know what you use Morales and Pratis for? To knock off 2 fucking old heads.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but like, see, and that's why certain matchups are complete no-sell, because we don't put young guns against young guns yet at this moment at welterweight.
But you know what? Here's another fun thing.
We will soon. Next year we will.
I just thought about this. Now the Randy Browns, the Brian Battles, the Mike Malotz, the Gabriel, they get to fight a Gabriel Bonfim, who's the ultimate gatekeeper. I mean, Gilbert Burns. Because they want that 13.
Yeah, they still got to get in there.
They want it bad, right? And so he is a good test. And now if he loses another fight, we know it's just done, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If let's say a Brian Battle faces Gilbert Burns and he does the same thing, we know like what happened with Neil Magny, we know you're out.
Mm-hmm.
But if he tests one of these two, he becomes that guy. He gets a few more fights under a few more paychecks, right?
Definitely.
Because it's almost like Kobe. How long? I bet you we wait another 6 months before he fucking jumps in back in the ring.
6 months sounds about right.
He didn't walk. I forget. Was it Joaquin or someone like, dude, what are we doing?
With Colby?
Yeah, I forgot who. Someone said it. It's like, dude, like you should just need to give that spot up.
Yeah, I think Ian might have said that shit. Honestly,
Maybe
on Ariel's show.
And so like the Kobe, Steven,
Neil.
No, Neil's out. Or Jeff Neal. I think Jeff Neal still has something in the tank though. Right,
but he's just an old head.
Yeah, what Alexa? Oh, he's not. She's not.
She ain't never delivered for us once yet.
I did a Alexa test the other day. How well do I know her?
Mm-hmm.
Failed every question.
You don't know her at all.
And she said it. Jeff Neal's 34, so he got. I give him 2 more years.
Yeah, Kamaru Usman's fucking 36 or something like that right now, 37.
So he got 2 more years. I think him and Paredes need to run it, right?
Yeah.
Now Paredes is in the game. Jeff Neal becomes kind of a gatekeeper. You know, that lets the Mike Malots and the Gabriel Bonfils and the Brian Battles of the world get in there, fight someone that's kind of. I'd rather have Jeff Neal be a gatekeeper than Gilbert Burns at this point.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and so I guess one other progression.
But I was gonna say this too. It was very telling to me that all these guys had something to say in the welterweight division after JDM and Bilal, but no one said not even a congratulations to Michael Morales after the win.
Oh yeah, well that happens.
I know, but not even one of your peers is like, "Hey, good job, bro."
You know who also doesn't get that?
Who?
Joaquin.
And that's very telling too. To me, it's telling.
Mm-hmm.
It's an insight to be like, oh, you don't want to at least just recognize it. Why? Because you're a little like, oh, this guy got something.
Mm-hmm.
So,
in my opinion, it's always the ones who got something who never get the love. It's always the fucking the soy boys or whatever you want to call it who get all the love.
Yeah.
Look how much Sean Brady, when he just like posted his story, clapping back at somebody. He clapped back at Colby Covington after his win over Leon.
Mm.
And I don't know if you remember this, but all the media outlets reposted Sean Brady, like all the shit talking he does.
I remember that one.
It's like some people just get the, and I think a lot of Sean Brady's peers were like, nice job, Brady, good, like right. Good win. But then but I'm gonna say this, right? I'm gonna say it, and I don't feel bad for it. I feel like I'm spot on with this. It's easy to say it to like the white, the unintimidating like white boy. Right. It's easy to say it to him, just like it's easy to compliment the nerd. But the cool guy, the guy who's like actually fucking intimidating you, the guy who got the swag, the guy who's cooler than you, right? The guy who makes you like maybe feel insecure about like he might steal my girl, some shit like that. You never want to give him the credit.
Right. No props.
So, I think people should notice that. You know what I mean? A lot of people who get the credit are the people who like, it's just because you don't make someone else feel intimidated, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like Brendan Schaub was saying, like he's such a big guy, 90% of people he comes in contact with, they're already on guard, because like he's already putting him in that position,
right?
And actually, something about me, I'm kind of like a big guy, as you know, but something about me, I noticed subconsciously that's happened to me in my life a little bit, and I almost hunch over to like make people feel less like I'm towering over them, if that makes sense. Because you know how like they'll be like, oh, good posture, but for me, I kind of just feel like an asshole because I'm so big,
Fuck that.
But I gotta learn to like, it's like a balance. But I'm just saying, people who are like,
look at I think how many people had all these opinions about MMA Guru, and you see him and he's like, oh, dude, this dude's like stout. He's like fucking. He doesn't look fat when he stands up.
No.
When he's sitting down in the beard, everybody had this image like, oh, he's a troll in his fucking basement and shit.
Wears a shirt.
Yeah, you saw him like stand up against DDP. He's like, oh shit, this dude's kind of big.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm telling you, and it's not even any disrespect. I feel like Me and Guru, I think we're gonna be boys soon. I think maybe I'm gonna hit him up. We're probably gonna make some content. I'm trying to get my numbers up a little higher before I reach out. But I feel like, you know, me and Guru could be boys, but also on some me shit, I guess. Whenever I look at Guru, and even when you start saying he's big and shit, I'm like, hey, that would be a good fight. Me and Guru.
Oh.
I would love it.
Yeah.
I think it would be exciting. I think it would be
And
fun.
you have a wrestling background, right?
Yeah, I would like the challenge. Guru talks like he fucking trained before.
Right.
I would love to run it.
All right.
I would love to. Honestly, when I see him, when he's like this next to DJ, that's like the first thing that pops in my head. I'm like, dude, let's run it.
Like, that was funny because he was all like this. and Demetrius Johnson.
That's how he is. He's always fucking flexing and shit.
Yeah.
But shout out to Guru. I think we would break the fucking MMA community. We'd break the whole fucking MMA media landscape.
Little US fucking Aussie fucking. Oh no, he's from the UK, right?
Yeah, UK. But we would definitely fucking turn some shit up. Let me go. Let's find another topic here.
I got like 5 minutes.
Okay, we'll end it on this one then. I'll give you 3 topics. You choose, okay?
Okay.
Bellato pulls out from herpes. That's probably bottom priority for me. Antonio Brown gets in a street fight at Aiden Ross's boxing event, pulls out the strap, or Sean Strickland calls out Bilal Muhammad.
I mean, Antonio Brown fucking pulling out the strap is the stupidest thing you could fucking do. Like,
did you watch all this stuff?
I did, and it was steps away from fucking like, you could be now fucking have killed somebody in prison because you got put up in a situation. You know how many events I've been to, bro, that have happened just like that? And what happens? Pop, 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 pop. Someone dies. Like your whole life flashes over your eyes, bro. He should be way smarter than that, bro. Fucking hop in the whip, get the fuck out of there, and not even deal with the drama and shit. Oh, he put himself in a position, and then he pulls out the strap. I get it too, right? No one wants to get jumped.
I got something for you.
Go ahead.
So number 1, I want to say this just before I even get started. He pulled out the strap after the guy fucking fled. So to put that all into context, you said jumped, right?
Well, yeah, because they had him against like that. Was it against the wall?
Yeah. So, and I don't know for sure. I'm gonna go off Flacco, and he was fucking wrong about the prison story.
Fucking poetic Flacco.
So he fucking did me dirty once already. But you were there to correct it.
There was something to it. You know what I mean? Like it was.
He pissed somebody off, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, there was something to like the mindset of what he was trying to say. Yeah, like that, it makes sense. But then you got more information. Anyway, yeah.
Right. So Flacco says AB wasn't jumped. Turns out the man who AB got in an altercation with, if you remember, Super Bowl performance halftime show, the person who was running on the field with the Palestine flag. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah,
apparently, that is the same guy who was. He went up to AB. And he was trying to like preach peace, like free Palestine type shit. So he went up to AB and his entourage saying free Palestine, shit like that. I guess AB was like unreceptive because if you know AB, he's a hostile guy at this point in his life.
Right.
So he's trying to push stuff. Yeah, he's trying to push that down AB's throat, like free Palestine. And I think AB was getting aggravated. And then Flacco says that AB and like his team kind of like they like jumped that guy. Like, they threw a punch at that guy for getting in AB's face. Keep in mind, that guy should have been far away from AB. You can't just be preaching shit like that on the streets. Like, people are going to get pissed off. But the guy got jumped, and then that brawl ensued, so that's the video you saw. And then fast forward, that's when I said, if you replay the video now with me telling you that, you will see the guy getting escorted off. Like, he was getting pushed away by, like, a security guard early in the video. And then you see AB running down that same direction with the gun. And so, my thing is this. Dude, that ain't no self-defense, AB. I don't even care if you're in Florida. Like, that guy was gone, and you pursued him. Yeah. You know what I mean? They make movies about that shit. Like, if there's a home invasion, and you wake up and somebody runs out of your house, you no longer can pursue them. And there's a movie made where somebody did pursue him, hit him with a baseball bat, and then got life in prison.
Dude, there's too many. You know how many people are in jail because of fucking something dumb they've done, and they probably like.
Heat of the moment. Crazy.
Yeah, heat of the moment. If I would have walked away, and imagine he takes someone's life, dude. You know what I mean?
Because there were multiple shots fired. We don't know if it was AB because there's no video of that. But
yeah, it's he. I don't know, bro. It's super dumb, super irresponsible. He has to be smarter than that. Like he's gotten so far in his life, like it's almost like you did all of this in your life to get out of these circumstances, and now you're back in these circumstances.
Like putting yourself in them too.
Yeah. He could have just been like, bro, I got it. I'm out.
He looks up to the rappers a little too much. You can even tell with his fucking swag. He thinks he's a rapper now.
Who said it? There was a rapper that came out. Oh, DW Flame. Did you see his post?
What did DW Flame say?
You know who he is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he basically said, man, all these rappers, man, they're out here clout chasing, acting like they're killing anybody. He goes, ain't not many people dying.
They don't know. You know, if you knew, why you even want to be a part of that shit?
Yeah.
Do you think the AB, with what I just kind of informed you of, especially with the pursuing and then the shots fired, we don't know if he shot those bullets, right? But like, do you think that, I mean, he might get some charges? Maybe some jail time.
I mean,
firing it to an open crowd, brandishing your pistol.
Yeah, you can't just be doing shit like that. That's not legal.
That's definitely not legal. I don't even care if you have an open carry in Florida. If somebody is not pursuing you, that shit's illegal.
Right. Like here in California, bro, you can cut up something like that. You're definitely going to prison.
Yo, definitely.
Yeah.
You can't even do a concealed carry out here, I don't believe, unless you're like a cop.
Oh, yeah. That's
only cops get that.
That's a hard no out here.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Arizona, you go to the grocery store, there's guns everywhere.
It is kind of crazy.
Right?
I went to go see my pops today because he lives in Phoenix. And I just saw like a couple fools just like, this is strapped just on him. I'm like, I guess.
Yeah. My homie, his dad lives in Arizona. He tells me that like when his dad comes in and out of the house, like you got the phone, you got the wallet, you got the keys, you got the gun.
Got the strap.
Like you got all four. Like it's all like that's
right,
like the AZ starter pack.
That's funny.
I guess we got to look up. We won't do it today, but I'll look up on my own time how much jail time or like what's the maximum penalty for maybe like brandishing a pistol and firing into an open crowd.
I mean, it got to be like, I know here in California, you probably get like 5 years.
I think it happened in Florida.
Yeah, but I mean, I get that, but they made their laws may not be as strict, but
maybe a few years less, couple years.
Maybe a slap on the wrist just because it's like it didn't hit nobody. I have no idea.
Yeah, but AB, like shit, he's got to look out. Let me just read you this Sean Strickland quote because I found it just amazing, honestly, and I'll get you out of here. Okay. Did you happen to read this quote or no?
The one with Bilal?
Yeah, how he called him out.
I have, but I didn't read it like.
Okay. And then we had the homie with the herpes, and we're not even gonna get into him, but shout out to him.
Bro, like,
shout out to him.
Here's my thing, bro. Like, why would you even come out and say that? Like, you could have just been like, you could have said anything else.
Yeah, true.
I had a stomach flu.
Or just say nothing.
Because if it was me, like, you know, hey, you know, MTK can't make it, and I send him like on social media, you know, the herbs and shit, like, I don't know.
I never knew herpes would take me out of the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, it just, that's just super odd.
Crazy. And we don't know, like, if it was a fucking, like, cold sore or fucking a night out in Vegas.
And why can't you fight with herpes?
I guess if it's an active cold sore, it's contagious.
All right. Well, good. If I was Paul Craig, I'd be like, nah, dogs.
We ain't rebooking either.
Yeah, because imagine him on top of him and shit, like.
Joaquin, last year, we did an interview. He admitted to me that he turned down Ian Gary. And then he goes, I ain't trying to catch no herpes. Because Ian Gary got a cold sore on his fucking mouth. All right, let me read you the quote and we'll get out of here. Sean Strickland says, Bilal would be a good fight. Bilal, you should finally sack up, dog. This is it. All that shit you talk, man, we could finally make it happen. You lost your belt. You kind of got fucked up. I got fucked up. We should make that fight happen, Bilal. That'd be a good one, right? He said he would come up to middleweight. All that shit he talks on Instagram, he was like, hey, I'm going to come fight you. I'm going to come do this and that. Now you can, fucking pussy.
Yo, Bilal has been
do it for Palestine. Tell me that wouldn't be a good fight, though. Me and Bilal, all that shit he talks online, I'd fucking love that fight. That'd be a fun one. That's one I need.
No, I love it, too. But Bilal has been Silence of the Lambs right now.
Yeah.
not a chirp. Not a chirp of a chirp, bro. Like that's crazy to me.
Sometimes people do clap back too, even in a loss.
All that chirping, all that GSP, all this, he should answer that bell.
Yeah.
He should.
I like the Bilal Strickland fight. I think Bilal lost a lot of his aura. When he was champ, I thought that was more of a exciting fight. Now I'm like, fuck, dude, Sean's gonna run through Bilal.
See, I think Bilal would give him a run for his money.
Because the wrestling, huh?
Yeah.
Strickland's just so fucking ass with the wrestling. You know?
But he's still good at jiu-jitsu, guy. We just never get to see it.
And that's the problem.
And I think that Bilal could answer that 1, 2, 3, 4 combo teep.
I think you mean just the jab.
Yeah, but I mean he has
the jab teep. It's not even a 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a fucking jab.
And a really good Philly shell.
Yeah. There you go. So, exactly. Sean Strickland starter pack.
Yeah. I think Bilal could find an answer for it. I think JDM just outdid him.
Definitely. JDM shocked us with that wrestling defense and everything. Fuck it. I say Bilal Strickland, you want my money? You know what I mean? Bilal Strickland. Islam already fucked up by not fighting Ilya. We want big fights. Give us these big fights, man.
You know how long it would take Bilal to get rise back up? Like there's not even one who's going to fight Bilal in the welterweight.
Yeah. I feel like he's kind of got that bad reputation where nobody even cares to fight him.
No, like it's almost like he's not doing what Ian Gary and Joaquin been doing. Like he's not keeping himself. The fact that he hasn't came out and started chirping is doing him a disservice. Because he's going to be forgotten so soon. I'm just trying to think, like, who would they line up?
That's a tough one with Bilal. Bilal is like a fucking nobody right now, unfortunately.
Right, you got
shout out to him. I fucked with Bilal, but
I guess Shavkat would be the next one.
Okay, Bilal Shavkat, I would actually love to see it.
Yeah,
I'm down with that. That is what I've been thinking this whole time. Bilal Shavkat finally run it.
And they're both on his shelf right now because he's recovering. Shavkat just got a surgery. They could probably set that up at the end of the year.
Their timelines.
And that's the other thing too with Shavkat. You know, I'm getting a little bit more worried with Shavkat with all this shelf time.
Yeah, but you know what? I really like what you said there, so I just got to point it out. See, you're learning a little bit more as we go on. How you're like, Shavkat's injured. Bilal just fought. They're on a similar timeline. Money. Not many people, I'm telling you, not many people think like that. And that's how you have to think. It's not just like, oh, this is an exciting guy, this is an exciting guy. A lot of it is, do their time frames line up?
100%, yeah.
Yeah. 100%. You were going to say something else or no?
That's it.
Let me finish it off by saying, Sean Brady blocked my ass for my Joaquin Buckley interview. Shout out Sean Brady. You know, probably blocked on here, bad boy.
Hey.
But
jump on the pod, Sean. Come on, dog.
Yeah, Sean Brady got pissed because of my video with Joaquin, where we do the rankings, right? Joaquin broke down the title picture, and then I butted in, and Joaquin's like, I think Joaquin said something like, if I don't put on a crazy performance, they're going to give it to Sean Brady, something like that. And I was like, yeah, but I think Sean Brady as the #1 contender, he's so far removed from that title shot, I think Ian Gary's above him. And he blocked my ass.
You can't, I don't know, that don't make no, you can't take shit personal.
He's a pussy, dude.
I'm not going to go that far. That motherfucker will fuck me up.
Yeah, maybe he's not a puss. Maybe he might fuck me up. But, hey, I'm bigger than Sean Brady.
He still probably get you, though.
He definitely fucked me up. But
you break your arm pretty quick, probably.
Okay, I'll stop saying the P word, but he's a bitch when it comes to social media. I'm going to say that.
Okay, that's different.
Yeah, you're being a bitch about that, bro. Like, blocking my ass. I didn't fucking say anything super disrespectful. I said an honest take. I said you are far... And I also said everybody in his circle is probably, like, telling him he deserves that title shot, but everybody on the outside circle agrees that he doesn't deserve it. So he got really pissed when he watched that.
Oh, he got in his feelings.
But dude, I said that because Ariel is such a fucking fake ass, and he always has Sean Brady on. He's always talking about Sean Brady being next in line for a contender, and it's like Sean Brady doesn't even sell tickets. But Ariel is this guy who knows everything about the UFC, he knows everything about show business and the money that goes into it, but then you're going to prop up a guy like Sean Brady. We all know why. It's because you don't like Joaquin Buckley. And I didn't mention your name on the interview, but I did mention how you told me you were like, hey, what's Ariel's beef with Joaquin? So I mentioned that to Joaquin in the interview if you haven't watched it, and Joaquin like explained his side. If you want to check it out, there's a timestamp. It's Joaquin responds to Ariel hell whiny.
All right.
All right, bro. We're done with the pod.
Out.